Hello there, this is DJS, coach of the Tentacle Pirates, and welcome to week 7 of PAC YouTube season 3. So, this week we are off against Sventhoon, coach of the Gothenburg Sphealers, and also the guy who runs this league. He was also the one who invited me to play here, so thanks also for that. So, he has a Sun based team with Chiu and Torkoal, and then he also has Slitherwing, Mimikyu, Berserker, Crocodile, Sosbak, Seviper, Tatsugiri, Oricorio, Pau, and Electros. So Chiu is definitely coming, and is like everyone knows how threatening it is, and so I don't know if he bring Torko, but he might just to get some boosted powers, because I do have a pretty fat team, so he might want the sun support to break through some of my mons. Besides that, he might bring the Electros, because it's a pretty solid one that actually takes hit from some of my threats pretty well, and I'm not actually sure what else he might bring. The Oricorio might come, just since I also have a Oricorio, it might be a mirror match, so he might want that. And actually, not gonna lie, the Sosbag I also feel might come, because like it has pretty good offense against a pretty big portion of my team, so I also expect that. Oh, his Terra captains has the Slitherwing, the Sosbag, and the Oricorio. So I think he probably will Terra the Sosbag or the Oricorio if it comes. Slitherwing, I'm not so sure, but it might be. So the team we are bringing first one is the Gengar. So the Gengar is gonna be my lead this week, and I'm mainly bringing it to set up the T-Spikes. So he does have removal in form of Torkoal and Oricorio, but I don't think Oricorio is gonna bring like defog if it comes, and Torkoal that cannot spin on the Gengar and is always threatened by like Sludge Bomb and Shadow Ball, so I doubt it stays in. So Toxic Spikes will be pretty free against his team unless he runs a lot of boots, but I feel like to get good potential with Chiu, he probably won't be bringing boots, but he might. But still, I'm just gonna go with T-Spikes, and I got Sludge Bomb and Shadow Ball, which pretty much hits his team fairly decently, and then I got Focus Burst just for the Chiu. I'm running Sash on this thing because rocks, he might bring rocks, but Tusk is pretty good in removing rocks against him, so I'm not worried about getting rocks off the field. Next up we have the Ochien, so this is probably gonna be our Terra, although we have the Iron Thorns. So I'm gonna Terra Fairy this week, since like Terra Fairy actually does pretty good against like most of his physical attackers except for the Berserker, which I don't think he brings, and also I have some other mons that can deal with it. And this is mainly for my Sosbag counter, because that thing actually, if you see the rest of my team, it does a pretty good number on most of my team except for this, so I'm using the Terra Fairy Ochian this week. So we got Terra Blast, because like Terra Fairy is actually pretty spammable against his team, because like his two fairy resists are like Seviper and Berserker, and I don't see like any of them coming really. So Terra Blast is pretty spammable. Ruination is always solid to get 50% of something like the Electros, which doesn't have any direct healing moves, and then we have Leech Seed for some damage on chip and recovery, and also Giga Drain as a step. Next we have the Great Tusk. So yeah, this is mainly if he brings any rocks, it's our spinner as usual. We are running EQ and Coast Combat steps, which is resisted only by the slithering, so we have player up for that and spin. So we are running a pretty offensive set with 52 spade F and assault vest that allows us to take like one overhit after rocks from Chiu if it's like timid max special attack with no boosting items. That's the best I can get out of task without sacrificing a lot of its offensive potential. So yeah, I don't think it's gonna be a Chiu check or something like that, but yeah, it's there just in case. So next we have our iron thorns. So yeah, so this is gonna be our try to slow down Chiu this week, cause like yeah, Chiu if it's like a truck and like with max speed F we can actually hit like 2 or 3 dark pulse and he won't be using any fire moves on us since we are rock types. So yeah, so we are Terra Fairy just in case we don't Terra Ocean for some reason, so that if he wants to dark pulse we can just Terra out to get a resist, but yeah, I doubt it. So we are running rocks, so if the Chiu is running like specs or scar for a boosting item, it can get punished. And then I'm running actually a special set since like Torkoal can burn us, so like see the ring we can get intimidated. So for this reason I'm just running a special set just to get more coverage out of it in case we need it, and it also is Torkoal better since Torkoal doesn't have a lot of special defense. Other move I'm running is Force Switch just for some momentum, and Ice Beam is just in case the crook switches in. Next we have the Dondozo. So the Dondozo is gonna be like a general sponge for stuff, so it can take the physical hits pretty well and also give it some speed def to take out some hits on the speed def side as well. So we're gonna run liquidation and body press as our damaging move mainly, and we got rest for sustain. And instead of Sip Talk I'm running Yawn this week because like last week as you see like Sip Talk didn't do a lot for us, and if we had Yawn we could have just put the Dreadnought to sleep and then we didn't have to worry about it a lot. So I'm running Yawn instead of Sip Talk. So Dondozo is not like super important here to check a lot of stuff, but it's just handy to keep in just for some like some potential U-turn rocky helmet chips and things like that. Our final one is the Screamtail. So this is one of our win cons this week, so I'm running a different Screamtail this week. So we are running a bulk up substitute set. I first wanted to run a Calm Mind subset, but like I found like the bulk up is actually a bit better. So we have a lot of SPDF investment that helps us to hit like any Torkoal hits, even like boosted in the sun if it's like not invested at least, and then we can just set up bulk ups and then do good damage with Drain Punch and Play Rough. Most of these two moves hit like over most of his teams, and with bulk ups we can just go like very bulky in the physical side so he can break our subs, and we do have fair amount of speed F to take hits from most of his other mons that's not Chiu. For Chiu, Drain Punch is gonna do quite a bit if we set up, and we'll get a lot of health back. So yeah, so this is gonna be like a sponge for a lot of the mons, so we are gonna try to get it on something like a Torkoal or maybe like a I don't know the Across, and then try set up some bulk ups and break through some of his teams. So that is gonna be the team I'm running this week. Now let's move on to the battle. So we are in the battle right now. So as you can see he has not bring the Torkoal, so no sun, so that's good in one side. And he also haven't brought the Saucebuck, which I thought was pretty good against my team. It did beat the Mimikyu and the Crocodile, and rest are more or less expected. So yeah, as we said, we're just gonna lead with my Gengar and set up T-Spike, especially since he doesn't have to Torkoal. Now T-Spike should be pretty good against his team, unless he's running like boots on like every other mon, and I don't think the Oricorio is gonna be a default set, because I mean, it does while Great Tusk get a bit, but Tusk does get knockoff and Ice Spinner, which I don't think it takes too very well. So yeah, let's see what he brings. So he hits with Puggy, which is the Cedar Wing. So this is pretty good for us, because I don't think it stays in. So it's like a free turn to set up the T-Spikes, and even if it's like Scarf with EQ, we are gonna take the hit, and then we can switch out to something else. So yeah, I'm just using T-Spikes turn 1 and see what he brings out. Probably something like the Crook or the Mimikyu. Maybe the Crook. So he sends out Oven Meat, which is actually the Mimikyu. So if we went for a move, we'd have broken its disguise, but that's fine. We do have a Dondozo that will wall it. So yeah, I just switch out to Dondozo and see what it wants to do. I mean, he never SDs here, since like we still have our Dondozo. He might go for a Wisp, but yeah, he just Shadow Calls. That doesn't do a lot, and he takes Helmet Chip, and it's also Life Orb, so that's good to know. So now he definitely switches out, because I don't think he has any reason to stay in, so I just click Yawn to catch whatever comes in and put it to sleep. Hopefully it's the Oricorio, because like anything else will get poisoned, so Yawn will be a bit wasted. So he sends out to each, which is the Electros. So yeah, so we get Yawn on this thing, and this thing is definitely kicking something like Vote Switch. It might also kick Giga Drain, so instead of going directly to Tusk, I try to pivot in the OGN so that I can get my Terra off, but he just switches out directly, since I think he probably was thinking like I might switch to Tusk if he both switches. So yeah, so that's a good play for him. So he brings out the Oricorio, the second mon that is actually immune to the T-Spikes, and we do get our chain in. So now we are just gonna Terra Fairy this thing. We don't have to think, cause like Hurricane will do some good damage if he decides to go for that, and I'm just clicking Leech Seed just to get a chip on this thing if it wants to start setting up. So he just hard switches out again, and he shoots Casco, definitely the Crocodile. So yeah, the Crocodile gets poisoned by the T-Spikes, and we are gonna Terra Fairy. Gets the Intimidated off. We are gonna tear a fairy and skip the seeds. Get some health back. Take some poison chip. Now it might have gunk shot, but I think we still live. And yeah, it just sets up rocks. And this Giga Drain is probably doing a lot, and if it even doesn't knock out seeds and poison should knock it out. Yeah, so yeah, after Giga Drain it knocks it out. So there goes Crocodile, and since his rocker is gone, we can just get Tusk in sometime and spin the rocks away. It shouldn't be a big problem. I don't know what he's gonna send in next. So he sends out the Oricorio again. So it might try and start setting up. So I just contemplating what to do, or can I switch into Screamtail because it is gonna take special is pretty good. So I just decided to quick it, but it shows it has taunt to stop my seeds. So yeah, I probably should have switched out into something else, but that's fine if it wants to set up. I still have my Dondozo left, and yeah, Quiver Dance is not gonna do a lot. Yeah, he does Quiver Dance, but yeah, we do ignore that. But I don't know how much speed of invested this thing is, and we are gonna live 2 or not. I don't think we kill with it in 2 hits. And I also didn't click on expecting he might just taunt, so yeah, I just go for the liquidation, and does like 85. So yeah, liquidation isn't a 2-hit kill. We get a defense drop, but that doesn't help Dondozo. And yeah, so this is a roll to kill, so I just click Yawn in case we live, but we do not. So there goes Dondozo, but as you said, Dondozo isn't like super important in this matchup. So yeah, so but it also has got a speed F drop, so I go to my Screamtail since Payoff should do a lot with the defense drops. Yeah, it goes for the air slash. That does do a chunk, but not a lot. And we miss our playoff, unfortunately. However, we still are. I think we are out of range of 2-hit kill with leftover recoveries. So playoff should do some damage, and I do think. And he doesn't have recoveries, so we can always finish it with Ochian if it lives on like us either. But yeah, that's not very good. But he actually withdraws Oricorio instead. He probably thinks dies and sends out the wave cross, and that does very little. So that's definitely most likely like a max defense Electros for the task. Since we are not adamant task, we probably won't be 2-hit carrying this thing. So I still don't know if it's a physical or special heal, so I just go for sub and see what he wants to do. And it shows the acid spray, which is super effective, but it's not a huge base power move, so our sub does tank the hit. And we also don't get the speed of drop, but the next whatever hit he goes for is gonna break our sub. Yeah, so I just decided to go for bulk up to get some setup going. And he probably kicks acid spray again or just force switches out. Yeah, he just force switches out. That will break our sub. I have no idea what he's gonna bring in now. If it's Chew, it's probably a Scarf Chew or a Specs, but we still outspeed Chew, and Drain Punch is gonna do quite a ton. But he sends the Mimikyu, which is like the I forgot he had this thing at that point. I should have just go for a move, because like yeah, we are gonna take a lot from Mimikyu even if we are +1s into it. It showed its of the life orb variant shadow, cause I can technically sub to get it to, but that will mean also you get through, so I just save switch to my Ochien. We are not dark anymore, so Paraf isn't gonna do a lot to us. And yeah, he just shadow cause doesn't do a lot, and he uses life to life orb, and he will lose some to the poison. This Mimikyu is probably gonna faint before breaking his disguise at this point. Yeah, so there's no reason for me to not click each seed at this point, so I just click each seed. It doesn't have a grass type, so yeah, seeds are pretty free. He sends back the Electros again, because the seeds this thing is a big, not a big issue, but a big nuisance at this point. Is just switching in, hovering over the T spikes, not taking a lot of damage, and then just switching out. Yeah, I should probably click Ruination there to just get it down, but I just go for the Giga Drain. I have no idea why. Ruination was obviously the better play there, but yeah, he just both switches out into something else. Yeah, he sends back Dorikoyo again. So yeah, this thing is also a bit problem. Rocks are up, our sash is gonna be broken with Gengar, so we can't actually revenge it if it gets a quiver dance up. So yeah, so I didn't expect it to taunt again, since we already showed taunt. He might probably expect us to go for a move, so I just quickly cheat expecting he would not taunt. We don't miss anything out even if he just taunts. So yeah, so now that this thing is seeded, it will be easier to deal with the Scream Tail. He is also not terrorizing this thing yet, so I do think he has something with the Scream Tail for his Terra. Yeah, but let's see. Yeah, I do think if he was Terra, he would have probably terrored it by now. Well, he just hard switches out for some reason as I go to my screen tail. Yeah, these rocks are getting very annoying at this point, since like we need like every bit of health we need on our screen tail to get it going, and the rocks chips are not helping. So at this point I decided he's probably just gonna volt switch or acid spray, and I definitely need to get these rocks out, so I just go to my great task to get these rocks off. And he goes for the acid spray, which is not great. He might have Giga Drain. He probably has Giga Drain. That's gonna do a ton. But yeah, we need to get the rocks off the field, so I just go for the rapid spin, get these rocks off. The cookie is gone, so it's not gonna bother us a lot. Yeah, but unfortunately if he has Giga Drain, which he has, and it does a ton, but we don't die at least, he's gonna almost go back to full and be a nuisance again. Yeah, at this point I feel like task is not very useful at this low health, so I just go for a CC, which does like what, 40%, showing it is probably max defense. Yeah, at least he's not gonna get a lot of health back with Giga Drain anymore, and we got rocks of the field. But yeah, anyway, that's not a good trade for us but yeah, it will probably give the screen tail a bit more chance, I guess. So at this point I feel like my win con is definitely the Gengar. Since we have the sash, if everything is in like 2-hit KO range, we can use it to knock stuff out after we get rid of the Mimikyu. So I'm just at this point trying to chip everything down to Gengar range, and if he's like Scarf Chew, it's gonna get poisoned anyways, and Scarf Chew is actually pretty good for, because Iron Thorns is gonna wall it and we can set rocks on that thing. So we set up a sub again as he goes for the acid spray. At this point I don't think like setting a bulk up is gonna be useful, so I just go for Drain Punch, which does like nothing, and we won't recover a lot also. Yeah, we just recover like 11 points of damage, and the Volt Switch just breaks a sub up. So I don't know even if like it feels like he didn't lose any health while we just lost like 5-6% of our health. But yes, the D is definitely not in Gengar range yet, so I couldn't afford to waste my sash on it. Yeah, so he sends out Mimikyu again, which is takes some poison damage. We will get some health back, and at least we won't have to worry about Rock's chip anymore. So yeah, we just switch on to chain again on this thing. It did show it doesn't have a good way to hurt us. Yeah, so I switch out into the Ocean. It doesn't switch out, but instead it uses the cars. So that's gonna do some chip damage to us while the Mimikyu dies. And as I said earlier, it actually died without getting its disguise broken. However, we will take now chip from cars every turn, so that's not great, so we have to switch out. So it sends out brandies, which is the so it felt like this is the best time to get in stew, and it didn't get poisoned, so that does tell us that this thing is a boots. So our switching to this thing is the Iron Thorns, and he reveals to be Flame Charge, so it's probably Flame Charge, Nasty Pot and Double Stab. He gets a crit on us. I don't think that matters a lot because we're gonna be healing from it, and I don't think he stays in because he knows he is not killing us at that range. But in case he does, I just go for the Power Gem. Also, he doesn't have a Power Gem switching in the back, so he goes to the Slithering and do some damage to it. Yeah, it's definitely a very bulky Slithering, and as you can see, this thing is also boots, so the T-spikes are pretty useless. So yeah, I am not staying in on this thing anyway. The CC is probably just gonna murder us, and with Terra Fury, Ocean resists both of his saps, so yeah, definitely the bro. So he shows the Will-O-Wisp, which it misses. Don't think it mattered a lot since we are special, not physical anyway. So at this point I decide to just go for the Terra Blast to hit this thing hard, but he reveals it to be Terra, so yeah, that's why he's saving the Terra on this thing, and he reveals to be the Terra Grass. So that's good on one hit because the Gengar's probably should be able to kill it with Surge Bomb now. However, that does mean he's immune to Leech Seed, and now he lands the Wisp. Well, we do get off a Terra Blast, but it probably won't do much now. Yeah, it doesn't even bring it to half. So now this Slithering is also being a problem. It probably also has like Morning Sun to heal off. Yeah, he has Morning Sun on it to heal off, but at least Ruination is gonna do a solid 50% on this thing. Yeah, unfortunately we won't be healing damage anymore with the Wisp burn, but at least FTs is gonna keep us where we are, and I can't even see this thing since it's Terra Grass now. So I don't think he was gonna go for the Morning Sun again, seeing the Ruination. Yeah, he just went for the U-turn, so I just clicked Terra Blast to get some damage. He brings out the Oricorio again. This Terra Blast might not kill it, but the next one probably will. Yeah, it just lives on a Slither. Yeah, at this point I don't think he's gonna go for the Quiver Dance now, cause yeah, he knows that I'm just gonna attack it. So I was deciding if I want to stay in and take some damage on this thing, or go to my Scream Tail, take the hit and then KO it. And I decided that yeah, I'm just gonna go to the Scream Tail since I probably might need the health, and with the Barn I'm not gonna get leftovers recovery back again. Yeah, he just goes for the Revolution Dance. It's not gonna do a lot. Yeah, it does very little, and we get some health back, and we can knock it out with Blade this turn. Yeah, so we finally able to hit the paragraph which we should have done like 20 turns ago, but it is what it is. And now he probably won't bring in the Chiyu since he knows we have Drain Punch. He's probably just gonna bring in the Electros to annoy us again, but instead he decides to bring on the Slither Wing. So I decided to go for a sub to see if it wants to burn us, just in case. I don't think the sub will take a U-turn since we are not physically invested a lot, yeah, but he just goes for the U-turn, yeah, and the sub also fades. And he goes back to that annoying E again. This thing like came in so much time and it's like still at 75% health. Still is pretty annoying. I decided just to go into the Iron Thorns because it probably doesn't Giga Drain it either, Acid Space or Vote Switch, and we can ourselves Vote Switch out now, so we don't have to worry about that our defense dropping. Yeah, rocks on this thing is pretty useless because two of the ones is like I have boots, so yeah, I still need the health on this thing to take hits from Q, so I just will switch out. He's probably just gonna, I don't know if he's gonna click Giga Drain or Vote Switch, but Ochianis I think was not gonna die from any of those two. Yeah, he just goes for the Acid Spray again. I guess he expected me to Vote Switch out. Yeah, it doesn't do a lot, but it's still getting health back from the lefties. And we are not for the burn. So yeah, I just decided to go for Giga Drain to get some health back. I probably should have go for the Ruination again. But now we are low on health, so we can't afford to just click Ruination, and we can't even click Reach Seed because he might just, I just expected it to Vote Switch out so this DC would have done anything. But he clicks Giga Drain and also gets some life back himself, but I do think we are gonna win the Giga Drain war because we are faster and it is dab on us. But anyway, I didn't think he's gonna stay in, or he's probably gonna Vote Switch out, so I go to Screamtail. Yeah, as you can see, he just hard switches. He probably didn't wanted a Giga Drain, another Giga Drain. So here I don't see any point of going for the sub because it's gonna break our sub with U-turn anyway. So I just go for Bulk Up so we can do some more damage to whatever comes in. I do think we leave this since this thing is very physically not physical but special, I don't know, but defensive. But he just crits us and kills us. Well, I mean, at least if I go in for a move or a sub, I probably could have just stick some damage on something, but like we just lose it with no repercussions. So now everything banks on Gengar here, and I don't think I can use any other mod, so I decided, yeah, this is the time to go for some moves with this thing. Search Bomb is 2 hit KO on it at this range, but it will break our subs, so we can't. Well, we won't able to take on the Chew. The Chew also showed flame charge, so yeah. Yeah, just go for the Search Bomb. It is a lot, and as you can see, if I had gone for Ruination like once or twice before, it would probably have killed this thing, and we could have won this game potentially. But it is what it is, and he decides to send out the Chew. So I decide to not waste Gengar yet, since we do have our Iron Thorns at good amount of health still. So I just decide to switch in the Iron Thorns. He might just flame charge, but as you see, it does a little, gonna get everything back with her, and if I can stick some damage on this thing, then Gengar is definitely gonna kill. Yeah, he just goes for the Dark Pass, which is does 87, so yeah, we're not taking 2 of those things, so unless we get a lot of restores back, this is gonna die. So here I don't think he stays in, so yeah, I just go for the Volt Switch to pivot Gengar back in. Now the good thing is everything is in Gengar range. The bad thing is Q is in Focus Burst range, and we do have to land a Focus Burst, and I don't think Focus Burst kills. It is a roll, but it still might not be enough to kill. I don't know if he sacks this or the eel here, so he decides to not sack this thing. Yeah, he finally decides to give this thing up. It should have died way earlier if he just clicked Ruination on it early, but well. So he brings in the Chew. Now I can't switch in Iron Thorns anymore, so I do have to just go for the Focus Blast to get it to R enough so Ochin can hit, but yeah, as Focus Blast said, it's missed. And we use Gengar, so yeah, that's not good. We probably don't win the game anymore. Yeah, that was even if Search Bomb was not a KO, but at least we might have a chance of poisoning that thing, so that we can wither it down, cause Ochin does 1v1. I don't know if it 1v1s, but it probably does take on the Cedar Ring, but at now I can't take another hit with Iron Thorn, 2 hits, so I can't switch in. So I just Volt Switch out. I didn't expect it to stay in, and we go to Ocean. But if it is Nasty Pod, it can just like sack this thing, get a Nasty Pod up since we don't kill it anyways, and then just knock both mons out. But well, yeah, unfortunately got the Focus Burst miss, but that's what the game is. So I don't know if he's gonna Morning Sun or not, but I just click Ruination just in case he's a Morning Sun, and yeah, he does go for the Morning Sun, which cause Ruination to do more compared to Terra Burst. So I don't know how long he's gonna click on Morning Sun, cause he does gain nothing. I mean, he also doesn't lose a lot since we are not recovering health anyway. That he might just, I don't know. Yeah, we're not gonna win anyways, I guess. Yeah, he just goes for the move to get this thing knocked out and then bring in Q safely. Yeah. Yeah, with the defense drops, Trevor should do more now. Yeah, he just goes for another CC. And even if he just kills this thing, I don't even know if Iron Thorns knocks Q out with the power gem at this point. Yeah, at this turn we are only gonna get a 1-0 victory, which will save our differential a whole lot. Yeah, Terabust probably doesn't do a lot, so I just go for the ruination just to get a 50 chance, but yeah, as I said, he goes for the nasty pot to secure a guaranteed kill on the Iron Thorns. Yeah, now this thing will just knock out the other two. Yeah, Dark Pass kills Ochian. Yeah, I don't think Dark Pass is even a role to kill Iron Thorns at this range. It's probably a guaranteed knockout. Yeah, Dark Pass kills Iron Thorns. So we used the game 1-0. GG's to my opponent. That focus plus mid did screw us a lot, but there's nothing we could do about that. Yeah, so we got 3 losses in a row now, but as you said, it probably still make playoffs because I have a pretty good differential, and even with like a 4-5 record you should be able to make it. But I'll still try to win at least one more game out of the rest too. So yeah, so that's gonna be for week 7. Bye.